Joining me now to discuss former Georgia Congressman and the host of the Doug Collins podcast, Doug Collins himself. All right, Doug, I said this to somebody who's center left the other day, and I was like, look, man, this is you can in this next election, you get more choice or less choice. What do you choose? And he literally said to me, I think the government should have more control. What?
Yeah, it's a problem, and we've seen it growing here, Carl. Going back, and really this issue that you talked about needs to be discussed more and more and more, and that's the education system. Look, this has been, if you look at it from just an honest perspective, this ideological bent in education has been coming on since the 70s, 80s, into the 90s, that government is okay, less about history, government is okay, the collective rules. And so now you've raised up a group of, 20, 25, 30-year-olds even that are now believing, yeah, it's okay. They spy on us. Well, so what? The government knows everything we do. They're taking care of us. And as long as I'm happy and I can do what I want to do, it doesn't matter. I fear this, that within my kids' generation and my grandkids' generation, when I have them, they will not understand personal privacy and personal freedom rights that we have today. It will be a foreign concept to them.
Yeah, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction, said a great man.
Yep.
But, in more recently prophetic, rapper 50 Cent of all people, okay, he had some bold comments on Los Angeles claiming that the city is finished after reinstating its no bail policy for criminals. Doug, I was looking at the stats on this. People who got out with no bail were more than twice as likely to commit a crime as those who were out on bail.
Yeah, and he's dealing with, look, this is coming from 50 Cent, who's actually had his own share of run-ins with the law. I mean, this is not somebody who's never had any issue with the criminal justice system, and he's saying this. Really what we're seeing here, this is the perversion of criminal justice. This is for those of us who've worked in this system, who've been attorneys, a defense attorney, who've worked with real criminal justice reform like we got passed under Donald Trump and others, that we actually can work on getting people out of the cycle of crime and back into homes. This perverts it. This is sickening. When you don't punish crime, when you don't support your police, when you don't provide this, and again, going back to your polls, everybody supports this. Giving people a second chance is good, but they've got to have accountability first. There is no accountability here. That's why San Francisco, Los Angeles, they're all just falling off. And yet the left says, Gavin Newsom, wow, there's the shiny new object for president. You give me a break.
Yeah. Well, Doug, before I let you go, the NDA, the National Defense Authorization Act, is up, and they are debating it heavily right now. A lot of things on the docket here, including some of this woke stuff where they can't get people to join the military. They're looking at cutting funding back, but then they're looking at putting more funding into trying to get people in that shouldn't be in the military in the first place. What is going on?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one right now because the Republicans in the House do have a lot of areas that they're trying to work on in this, quote, woke agenda, new agenda. Someone who's still in the reserves. I mean, you see the effect of this recruitment issue. This is going to become more and more. There's actually real talk right now, even more so than just a few years ago, of a draft. I mean, we're at that point. The situation is getting that concerning to many who follow our recruitment process, that we're just not getting enough bodies in and people to actually serve, which puts us at a critical disadvantage in national security. So again, focusing on these issues, we've tried paying it, but you've got to also provide an environment in which people feel like they're being led by true leadership. They're not being led by the whims of political gain and being sent to places they don't feel like they should be sent to. This is an existential crisis. It's only under the radar right now. The problem is they're going to run into a Senate that may or may not like that, and you got a president who's clueless to this. And, this is going to be a concern. People need to watch the NDA. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. Well, real quick before I let you go, we got to make fun of Biden. He was on the beach relaxing 1 week to the day after the White House was evacuated because of cocaine turned up in some cubby somewhere. What? I mean, the fact that Hunter Biden is still at White House functions, that this guy's out on the beach, there's been no accountability. 15 seconds to you, Doug.
Good to be a Biden with this DOJ. That's all I'll say. I mean, when you look at it this way, they solved this. Secret Service solved this within, as I had a friend say, in the first 5 minutes. They're just trying to figure out when they're going to tell the world who it was. If it was Hunter, great, fine, but if it's probably not, or whoever it was, they should come clean on this. This should not be happening at the White House.
Right. I completely agree. Doug Collins, always a pleasure, sir. Appreciate being here.
Take care.